Hi Elliot, it's July 7th and time for another video. This time I'm out in our grain trials area, which is in a different field than where we were for the grain nursery last week. You can see, I don't know if you can see the water tower from here with the M on it, but if you remember before, it was further in the distance, so I'm a little closer to campus, actually out by our equine center. The horses usually hang out down at the other end because they know I don't feed them anything, so they're perfectly happy to be down where their hay is. All right, so it's a trial. I want to show you three things about the trial. I want to show you how it's set up, first of all, and secondly, the plants are starting to flower, so I want to show you male and female flowers. And then, at least for the first time, I'll show them to them again later in the year. And then I also want to show you the density, because that's the thing that already, if you saw the field, you're saying that looks a lot different than last time when we were in the nursery. So anyway, what is this? This is where we do the evaluation of the material we've developed that we think might have commercial promise. And so you can see this long strip. This is one replication. We have 15 entries, so 15 different varieties that are in here. Two of them are commercial Czech varieties, so that I can compare mine to what farmers are currently growing to see if mine are any better. I mentioned it's a grain nursery, so I'm primarily interested in seed production and getting as much seed production per acre. Also really interested in having large seeds, because then the interior volume is the larger the seed, the greater the percentage of the seed weight that's interior volume where the oil is, as opposed to seed coat. So we go for large seeds and lots of them. You may remember your stats from grad school, and so we have 3 replications here. This one on my left, another one here I'm pointing to, and then a third rep. And each, of course, within each rep, we re-randomize the order of the varieties as you need to do. And the purpose of doing the replications is so we can get an error term and use that error term to determine whether our yield differences are statistically significant or not. So also we do the replications so we get a better mean, sampling in slightly different environments. Anyway, so 3 reps, 15 entries. The next thing I want to show you are the flowers, because I conveniently have the most early flowering material right here to my left. This is actually one of the Czech varieties. It's called X59. It's a grain variety. And what's really noticeable right now is these male flowers. So those are all staminate flowers. That's the only thing on the plant. You see they're at the nodes, but up here at the apex, there's a big cluster of the flowers. And this is the way these things, I'll talk about density in a minute, but you can see several of these, so they're out flowering. This is a female. Let me get my hat out of the way and maybe you can see this guy. This is all pistillate flowers. You can see the stigmas and styles that are almost looking like a brush at the top of the plant. Later on, you'll see some of those also in the axils of this, but it's early on. Now, what's really cool is that it's July 7th, and in Minnesota, the day length here is 15.5 hours, so 15.5-hour days. If you look at the cannabis literature, particularly the drug-type cannabis literature, you'll see that it is very day length sensitive, and in fact, growers feel the need to flip, they call it their grow lights, from long days during vegetative growth to short days, 12-hour days, maybe up to 14-hour days, in order to induce flowering. Well, here we are at 15-hour days, so obviously not short days, and it's still flowering. And that's because either this material is day length insensitive, or it accommodates the 15-hour days. So last thing I want to show you is the density. Now, when we were looking at the plots last week in the nursery, obviously the plants were a lot smaller. They do grow really fast. The plants are a little bit ahead here compared to that nursery. But nevertheless, you can see the density is really high. And these are planted to try to hit 15 plants per square foot. So if you think of a square foot and put 15 stems in there, that's really tight, especially for a big plant that's going to get up 8 feet tall. and it creates an extremely dense canopy that blocks the sunlight and discourages weed growth. It doesn't eliminate the weeds. We in fact just weeded this absolutely thoroughly last week. Last week I could walk through here without the plants. They'd go between my legs. They were that short, but wow, just in a couple days they've grown almost 2 feet. So anyway, at this point, once you get the weeds out, like we did last week, the density is so high and the shading is so complete from this really tight canopy that we won't have weed problems in the future. On the edges you can see it, and where there are sunflecks, yeah, you can see a little bit of weeds. But really we won't have to worry about weeding. I'm seeing a honeybee nosing around. Actually it's a hornet nosing around it here, and I forgot to say when I was showing there the males that once the pollen starts shedding, the pollinators go after these plants amazingly well, and the pollen is spread all over, and if these plants are just really built for outcrossing. That's a topic for another time. All I wanted you to see here today was the fact that we've got trials going on. We do replicated trials. In this case we've got 15 varieties we're looking at. 2 are checks, so that means 13 of them are out of this program. If they do well, then we'll trial them again next year, and if they're looking even good at that, maybe we can get them into some farmers' fields to get their opinions. But this is kind of the next step before trying to identify new varieties. So that'll do for now. I just wanted you to see this really different density, see the flowering that's starting to happen, and see the layout of the trials. Bye for now.